Hello everyone, in this TRC-car tutorial number 65, the main target is to analyze the gain of a dual-stage amplifier with a capacitive load CL. To find the total gain, we will calculate the second stage gain and its input impedance. The first stage gain will be calculated by using the second stage input impedance as the load of the first stage. We will start by calculating the gain of the common source amplifier using an NMOS transistor, a resistive load RL, a drain gate capacitor C, and a capacitive load CL. This diagram shows the small signal circuit with a transconductance GM2. To plot the gain versus frequency of this amplifier, we will start with the DC gain equal to GM2 times RL. This DC gain asymptote Vout over Vx stops when the angular frequency is equal to 1 over RL times C plus CL. A simplified small signal is shown with only the load resistance RL, assuming that the effect of the capacitor C and CL is negligible at low frequencies. When the angular frequency is greater than the pole 1 over RL times C plus CL, the current GM2 times Vin flows in capacitor C and CL, so the gain decreases with frequency according to the equation GM2 over J times C plus CL omega. A simplified small signal is shown with only capacitor C and CL. The asymptote crosses gain 1 at the angular frequency GM2 over C plus CL. When the angular frequency is greater than GM2 over C, the circuit behaves like a capacitor divider with C and CL, as shown in the simplified small signal circuit. Thanks to the capacitor divider, the gain Vout over Vx becomes constant and equal to C over C plus CL. After plotting the gain, it is time to analyze and plot the input impedance of this circuit, denoted by Zin. At low frequency, the impedance is capacitive. The input capacitance Cin is equal to the capacitor C multiplied by the voltage gain GM2RL plus 1. Of course, since this capacitance depends on the DC gain, the capacitive input impedance stops when the angular frequency is equal to 1 over RL times C plus CL. At low frequencies, the impedance is 1 over J omega times 1 plus GM2 times RL times C. Since the term GM2RL is much greater than 1, the impedance can be written as 1 over J omega times GM2RL times C. At angular frequency omega p equal 1 over RL times C plus CL, replacing omega by omega p, we obtain RL times C plus CL over GM2 RLC. After simplification, the impedance is resistive and equal to 1 over GM2 times CL plus C over C, up to the angular frequency GM2 over CL. When omega tends to infinity, the impedance is equal to 1 over J C CL omega over C plus CL. The input capacitor C in H, with H for high frequency, is written as C multiplied by the factor CL over C plus CL. We can complete the impedance plot with the asymptote of slope minus 1 by the equation 1 over J C in H omega. Of course, we can check that this impedance is equal to the resistive impedance 1 over GM2 times CL plus C over C when the angular frequency is equal to GM2 over CL by replacing omega by GM2 over CL. To summarize, the input impedance is capacitive at low frequency with impedance 1 over J C in L omega, then resistive with the value 1 over GM2 times CL plus C over C between the angular frequency 1 over RL times C plus CL and GM2 over CL. Then, at high frequency, the input impedance becomes capacitive again with impedance 1 over JC in H omega. Now it is time to add another stage to drive the existing one. The added stage becomes the first stage and the other becomes the second. We can plot the DC gain of the first stage as GM1 times R when all the current GM1 times V in flows through the resistor R. However, we have seen that the second stage provides a capacitive input impedance equal to C in L at low frequency. So, when the angular frequency is greater than 1 over R C in L, the output of the first stage sees the capacitive input impedance of the second stage equal to C in L, as shown in the diagram with C in L in the red rectangle. Thus, most of the current GMY times V in flows in the capacitor C in L, and the gain curves becomes equal to GM1 over J C in L omega. This gain decreases until it reaches the angular frequency 1 over RL times C plus CL. At this angular frequency, the input impedance of the second stage becomes resistive, as shown in the diagram, with an impedance equal to 1 over GM2 times CL plus C over C, as shown in the red rectangle. We then find a constant gain equal to GM1 over GM2 times CL plus C over C. When the angular frequency is greater than GM2 over CL, the input impedance of the second stage becomes capacitive again, as shown in the diagram. The input impedance of the second stage in the red rectangle is equal to C in H. The Vx over V in gain curve of the first stage can be completed by the -1 slope asymptote of the equation GM1 over JC in H omega. We now have two gain curves. The black curve represents the gain Vx over V in of the first stage, taking into account the input impedance of the second stage, and the blue curve, the gain V out over Vx of the second stage. Of course, the total gain of both stages is a multiplication of both gains. Multiplying the black and blue curves between 1 over RC in L and 1 over RL C plus CL, we obtain the gain GM1 over JC in L omega multiplied by GM2 RL. Since C in L can be replaced by GM2 RL times C, after simplification we obtain GM1 over C omega. Then, multiplying the black and blue curves between 1 over RL times C plus CL and GM2 over CL, we obtain the gain GM2 over JC plus CL omega multiplied by GM1 over GM2 multiplied by CL plus C over C. After simplification by removing GM2 and C plus CL from the numerator and denominator, we obtain the gain GM1 over JC omega. When the angular frequency is between GM2 over CL and GM2 over C, the black and blue curves have a slope of -1. The gain is equal to GM2 over C in H omega multiplied by GM2 over C plus CL omega. After replacing C in H with its equation, we can simplify by removing the C plus CL term to obtain GM1 GM2 over C CL omega square. Finally, when the angular frequency is greater than GM2 over C, multiplying the two gain curves gives GM1 over C in H multiplied by C over C plus CL. After replacing C in H with its equation and simplifying, we obtain the equation GM1 over J CL omega. Since C over CL plus C is a constant factor, The red curves return to the asymptote of slope -1. In summary, we can keep in mind that when the dual stage gain is lower than the DC gain equal to GM1, GM2 R times RL, the gain will be given by the transconductance of the first stage, GM1, times the impedance of C, which is the Miller capacitance. Then, at high frequency, when we can consider C as a short, the gain is equal to GM1 times the impedance of the load capacitance CL. I want to thank you for your attention. On my next Thierry Sicard tutorial number 66, we will review the Miller capacitor effect. So see you soon and stay tuned.